Hi, Spin Small Business Community. It's Shauna Suko, and I am thrilled to be joined today by Debbie Peterson. And let me tell you a little bit about Debbie. Her business is called Getting to Clarity. And Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity works with professionals to get out of their own way and get clarity on what they really want in career and business. This is why I'm so happy to have her here today. As you know, with Spin, we focus on brain, body, being, and business, and she's going to help us cover two of those today, both your business and your being as far as your mindset, and she's going to help us with what does the future of our careers look like. So she works with them to help them get what they really want in career and business so they can actually achieve it. As a speaker and a coach, she shares strategies on how to develop a winning mindset, create a focus on what really matters, and accelerate results. That all sounds amazing. On a personal note, I love this. She chases sunshine with the two loves of her life, her husband, Tom, and her beagle, Ernie. How is Ernie? I've actually met Ernie. How's Ernie?
Ernie's doing good. He had a big birthday this year. He turned 13.
I'm so happy about that. I saw your post on LinkedIn about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Debbie, tell us a little bit about getting to clarity and why this is so important for our audience. Now, our audience we're all senior level meeting professionals and an average of 20 years in the business. As you might know, meeting planning is one of the top 5 most stressful jobs that one can have in these United States. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how can you help us?
Yeah, right up there with firefighters and policemen.
Yes.
So, well, and actually when you were mentioning your 4 focuses, I would actually say that this covers 3 of them because brain is mindset. So, and the reason that this is so important for your audience is, especially since they're senior level meeting planners, is that, when you come into a position, you kind of have, you have dreams about what it may be, you have aspirations for what it could be, you have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and then, you get thrown quickly into the real world of meeting planning. I mean, you have budgets that are restricted, you have sponsors who aren't willing to give enough money, you have rising travel costs, you just have all of these things to juggle with, and it kind of eats away at what the things were that were going to fulfill us or what we envisioned. So especially as a senior planner, just really getting back to what's important to you in your career so that that's what you place your focus on. And it's not that you're neglecting anything else, but you're strategic about how you spend your time and how you spend your mental energy. And it gives you a different result. So, okay, and that's what Getting to Clarity was born for.
And so, how would we go about doing that? Because I hear my audience, their brains are about to explode right now. They're like, I have to do one more thing. So how do they do that? And how, what are some steps that they can take?
Okay. Well, the first thing that I want to say is that getting to clarity is not about adding anything else to who you are.
Fantastic.
It's about taking away the things that cover it up. So it is actually, reducing what it is that you do in your life to bring you clarity. So let me give you an example. When I was in corporate and I spent 25 plus years in corporate, I did investor relations, I did project management, I did business administration. And actually one piece of my corporate career was doing meetings, but not as a full-time meeting professional, but as an ad hoc member working with a meeting professional. So I have a taste of what you go through. Regardless, I found myself in a position where I was stuck and I was frustrated and I was unhappy and just flat out miserable to the point that nothing I enjoy really brought me joy anymore. I had just morphed into this person I didn't recognize. And I knew something had to change because it was actually affecting me physically. So when you talk about stress, having heart palpitations and numbness in my hand. And so eventually, that's not good for long-term health. So what I found was that the way I was thinking was the biggest obstacle to the stress that I was giving myself. And it was the biggest obstacle that was holding me back. And when I figured that out, that was a game changer. But then when I learned strategies to help me think differently, that's when everything changed. And Getting to Clarity was born because I thought, holy cow, if I could do this, then how can other people do this too, if they choose?
Sure.
And it is a choice.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, it's so many of us, the longer that we do what we do, there is a really high burnout rate. But so this is a kind of a two-part question. So I want to know, what kind of strategies can you give us? But also, because of that high burnout rate, a lot of planners think, okay, what else could I do if not this as a career? But I'm sure a lot of them feel trapped because you've been doing the same thing for 20, 25 years. What's your exit strategy? And, we also have some members who are maybe nearing retirement or maybe don't want to do this for the rest of their lives. So part A, help us with some strategies to deal with this, because, clearly we need it.
Okay. All right. So it's all about next level, or what's next for you. And these strategies apply whether you are new to the industry and you want to figure out where you're going to land, whether you've been in the industry for a while and you need a change, or you're at the end of your time in the industry and you're like, okay, peace out. I'm retiring next year. So it applies to all of it. And so there's 4 focuses that I have and I've created. So let me go back. When I transitioned, I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this through getting to clarity, then I have to be able to teach people what it is that I've experienced. How did I do it? And so I created a system that has 4 aspects to it. And these 4 aspects are responsibility, accountability, community, and engagement. And I'll dive into those in just a little bit. But when replicated, will get you from point A to point B, as long as you do it consistently. So it applies no matter where you are in your career timeline. So you want strategies. And in the beginning, the responsibility is about a lot of those strategies, because people know that they're not happy where they're at, but they don't, it's because they're so unhappy or stuck or frustrated, they don't know what it looks like to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be engaged in their career. And that's where you need to spend the time. And
engaged in your life. We have so many planners that work their butts off, and how do they enjoy their life?
Yes.
It's just, it's high stress. You never get a break. There are a lot of evenings and weekends, and, so that part of us suffers as well.
Absolutely. So the time that you spend in your career, the boundaries that you draw in your career. So when it comes to focusing on what's next, it's the more questions that you can answer yourself, just the more influence you have in creating what it is that you want. So things like being able, if you're in the beginning of your career and you want to know kind of where you're going to land, thinking about skills that you would enjoy learning.
Let's talk about like a more like mid-level career to like maybe in-stage career, because our guys are, they have to have 10 years of experience to get into spin. But like I said, our average is kind of 20. So these guys have been at it for a while, and maybe are facing burnout, or maybe are facing, I own my own business. Why did I do this? That sort of thing.
All right. Well, it's there's one core exercise that I take people through, whether I'm coaching someone or whether I'm conducting a training session, or even sometimes in keynote presentations. And that is around values. Because the most important thing to remember is that there are jobs and they have job descriptions. So you have the duties and responsibilities for the job. But if you have 2 jobs side by side with the same responsibility, your experience at each will be different, even though you're doing the exact same thing. It ties into a number of factors. But what's most important to remember, and especially for your senior level planners and figuring out what's next, either later in their career or moving into retirement, is what they want to experience. So from now on going forward, what is it what in your job, as you execute the skills and the responsibilities of your job, how do you want to experience that? And this is what this means, is when it comes to your job, what is most important to you that be present from an experience wise? So for me, just to give you an example to work with, I need to have fun in my job. If it isn't fun, I don't want to do it. I enjoy traveling, so traveling needs to be a part of my job. I want to be compensated fairly. I want to have the ability to impact others and serve others. I want to be able to do something that's meaningful. So those are really important criteria of the way that I want to experience my job.
You know, you as a fellow professional speaker, you own your own business just like I do. So you have what you just described, I think, is the mindset of most of the people that are going to be watching this, because as most of them are small business owners,
Mm-hmm.
and who will be watching this, and you just described it to a T. So for me, I would add to that, working with clients that don't suck.
Okay.
As people
So I
right
want to stop you right there, though. But working with clients that don't suck. And here's a key point, is that all of us, whether we're solopreneurs like you and I are, or we're in the meeting industry in a corporation or in a group, is that if you are focused on in clients that don't suck, then clients that don't suck is the focus. And clients that suck, actually, your mind doesn't hear the don't.
Yeah, right. So I need to reframe that. Clients that are fun and awesome and appreciate what I bring to the table, reframe it positively. Yeah, you're right, because the universe doesn't hear the negative words.
It doesn't hear the negatives. But the other thing is that your mind will work like a dog to bring you what you focus on. So what you focus on is what you produce.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the saying? Where attention goes, energy flows. So if you're focused on the negative thing all the time, you're going to get more of that.
So whatever experience you're in, everything else will be filtered out but that. And so the example I use with my audience is a car. So what's your favorite car, Shauna?
Probably a gigantic Chevy Tahoe, but it has to get like 100 miles per gallon in fuel efficiency.
Okay, so gigantic Chevy Tahoe, what color?
White one.
A white one. Okay, so you're watching TV and you only get like 10 minutes a day to do this, maybe, okay? But you see this newly redesigned Chevy Tahoe that is, they've revamped the engine, it gets 100 miles a gallon. It's just, you're looking at it, you're like, sweet, this is just so what I want. And so you leave the house and you go to the grocery store. You come out and that Chevy Tahoe is sitting in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving home, it's in the bank teller line. You get to your driveway, it's in your neighbor's driveway 2 doors down. And because you only watch 20 minutes of television, you see that commercial 6 more times. Mm-hmm. So it's like that car is everywhere. That Tahoe is just like infiltrated your world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's your mind. Because you focused on the truck. You said, ooh, I like that truck. I like the color of that truck. I would look good in that truck. Then your mind sought to find it for you. So it filters out the smaller SUVs, the red cars, the blue cars, and it finds you what you want. So take that to our careers. What you focus on is what you bring to you, is what you produce. And that goes into every single aspect of your job. It how you look at clients, how you look at vendors, how you look at customers, how you look at yourself. Paying attention to, so what I advise my audiences to do, I've actually got a little sticker here. Let me show you this, and it might be backward in the Zoom, is it's called Catch It, Challenge It, and Change It.
Nice. No, that's not backwards.
It's not backwards? Okay, good. So that's what I encourage my audience to do. And actually at my last keynote, everybody got these to take with them so they'd remember. But catch it. When you catch yourself thinking that way, then you have a chance to think another way. You have a chance to shift your thinking to what is it that you want instead? Well, I want clients that, are happy and willing to spend money and care about their audiences and do what's necessary. And, I want to find vendors that are easy to work with. And I want speakers like Debbie who are low maintenance.
That's right now, our industry is going through a huge shift. For the first time ever, a couple of major hotel chains have cut commissions. And so we have a lot of planners scrambling, rightfully so, going, okay, I just lost thousands of dollars. So there's this scarcity mindset. So talk about what we can do about that. So
okay,
we catch ourselves going, oh no, I have to, my bills are going to knock, all that stuff.
And especially we tend to do it all at the beginning before we've even taken any steps in that direction. So it's this awful situation before we've even engaged. Mm-hmm. And then that causes us to disengage. So catching yourself when you're thinking that way. All right. Because there are other hotels out there who haven't cut their commissions.
Yes.
Yes. And a lot of times where there's a will, there's a way. You can configure things differently. But if you closed yourself off with that thinking, then you've just eliminated any chance of you getting creative and actually getting what it is that you want.
Yeah.
So that's when I say getting people out of their own way is that self-awareness, is catching it, how you're thinking and what it is that that's bringing to you. To challenge it is to ask yourself, what do I want instead? So when you're stuck, you're frustrated, you're fed up, it's hotels, it's vendors, whatever. Well, what do I want instead? Because you're focused on the wrong thing. And that's when anxiety and stress crop up too. So you talked about stress in the meeting planner industry. Yeah. You're focused. It is your body. It is your mind saying, well, you're focused on the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. So just like I want clients that don't suck. If you're worried about all of the things that can go wrong, then that's what you're focused on. But the reason that you feel such anxiety and stress is because that's not really what you want. Yeah. So it's catching it, saying, okay, my head's going in the wrong direction, challenging it, saying, what do I want instead? What do I need to be focusing on? What do I need to put my mental energy towards so that I can have the experience that I want, that I can create this event that I want in the way that I want to create it, in the way that I want to experience it? And then changing it means that once you've redirected yourself, identify the steps that you need to take to actually make that happen. So maybe it's connecting with someone about other hotel chains. Maybe it's connecting with other senior planners about how they've had a workaround related to properties that have cut their commissions. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're focused on all the awful things that can happen, you never allow yourself to go there.
And another thing, let me give you another example. So, as I said, a lot of the people who are going to be watching this are small business owners. And I have a good friend who has just lost 2 of her major clients. And so she's in this mindset of, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Not enough business, not enough business, not enough business. So work that scenario, because I constantly hear, I wish I had more clients. I wish I had more business. And you and I are the same way. Yes, we always are wondering where's the next gig coming from. So talk to the small business owner about that mindset. How do you wrap your correct mindset around that?
All right. And believe me, I totally get it.
I know you do.
Yeah. So, again, it's where you let your focus go. So if you have lost a couple of major clients and you kind of got that fear cropping up, that fear is keeping you from engaging in a healthy way. So when it comes to your mindset, you create your reality inside your head. Mm-hmm. Okay. We all live in the same world. But we all have different experiences of it. So 2 people in the same meeting can have a totally different experience because of people's values, their experiences, their history, etc.
Yeah.
So we create our reality in our own head.
Yep.
And emotions are kind of the lens that reality goes through. And then ultimately that's what we see. So what we hold in our head and what we actually experience are 2 different things because they get skewed on the way. So that fear is keeping you from showing up the way that you need to in your job.
And
so when it comes to
attracting new business, I think.
Right. So it's keeping you from, 1, focusing on what's really important and actually implementing on that, which is a recipe or a strategy for not feeling that stress. So it's like, okay, these clients are gone. It's water under the bridge. There's nothing I can do unless there's a strategy that you can take to try to woo them back, if that's the most productive use of your time. If not, it is done. It is behind you. How are you going to reorient yourself to look the other way? Yeah. What do I want instead?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is thinking about the type of clients that you want to work with. When it comes to values in your career, how you want to experience career, I do the same thing with clients. What are the sort of clients that I want to experience? How do I want to experience them? I want people who care about mindset, who are curious about developing their audiences and giving them strategies to move to the next level. I am, people who are willing to put on the right event for their people, to have a keynoter that can make a difference, and they're not just after the celebrity. So the same thing with your clients, identifying what it is that you want about a client, because think about this. When you go on vacation, you don't just show up at the airport and look at the departures board and say, oh, okay, I guess I'll go to Colorado. It's not how it happens. I mean, you research places, you have budget, you buy tickets, you bring the appropriate clothing. There's a lot of forethought that goes into a vacation.
Yeah, and you don't just sit around lamenting that you haven't had a vacation for a year and wishing that you could take one. You make a plan and you
do something about it.
And you do something.
That is the change it. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there. I have a great question after this, but this is our commercial break. So planner friends, Spin members, I want to tell you that Debbie is a professional speaker friend, as I've said. I twisted her arm to do this for me today for free for you all. So I want to give her a chance to promote something. So this is a little commercial break. Debbie, what do you have that might be of value to this audience and of value to you? So what kind of business do you have that you can promote to them?
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you for having me on. And although Shauna says she twisted my arm, she didn't twist very hard, because I would do anything for her. I've so enjoyed having you as a friend, and you've been so supportive, and it's just been great. And the other thing is, this is what lights me up. Anytime I have a chance to talk about this, it's like a really good day. So being here with you and just to let you know, kind of the things that I do for the meeting planner industry. Two things. The one would be as a business keynote speaker. I love to engage with audiences that would be appropriate for a mindset shift, for really getting clarity about how they can get out of their own way and focus on what's really important, because we let so much come into our heads that just messes with our outcomes. So being able to engage with audiences is a high point for me. And on the flip side of it, it is also the coaching. So I work with professionals, and I say independent professionals, that's my target market, but I work with professionals to do the same thing. So on the stage, it is strategies to help people create that winning mindset so that they can accelerate their income or their results. But for coaching, it is my joy to help people get clarity on what it is that they really want in their career or business, and how they're going to go about achieving it. And so being able to take them through my system and from point A to point B, just see their results is just terrific.
And I heard somebody described you recently as powerful but low maintenance, which warmed the cockles of his heart as a meeting.
So I was the closing keynote for the Florida Bankers Association Women in Leadership Conference. And it was a terrific audience. And my take is that I like to play with my audiences. If I'm going to do something visually, I'll do it with people. I'll do it with the members of the audience. So right up front, I will tell my audiences, you're going to play with me. It makes it more fun all the way around when you get people involved. I'll use some slides, but that particular meeting planner, he said, I warmed the cockles of his heart because I was low maintenance, meaning I didn't have a whole lot of video and slides and, all those things that can go wrong. So I just like to keep it afloat between me and the audience. And that seems to work really terrific.
And I say, we don't use the word cockles enough in our daily conversation. I'm so glad I got to say that today. Cockles.
All right. # cockles. Let's go.
Okay. So now back to, what you were describing before the commercial break sounds like an avatar. Now, in marketing, an avatar is a vision of your ideal client, down to you can actually draw them what they look like, even if you're a terrible artist like I am. What is that ideal client who's going to hire me? What do they look like? What do they watch on TV? What do they like to do in their spare time? What's their job? All those things you kind of create an avatar. Have you done that before? Or
I have, and that's very similar to what I'm talking about, is that, really getting clear on who it is that you want to serve, that you want to attract the clients. Because again, go back to that car example, the white Chevy Tahoe.
Yep.
What you focus on is what you produce.
And
So
you used an interesting word right there, who you want to serve. Now, a scarcity mindset is who's going to pay me? Where's my next client? Where's my next check coming from? Who's going to pay me? But you flip that on its head. Who can I serve? And I love that. That's an abundance mindset.
it is. It is. So from a speaker perspective, I want to come in and I want to engage the audience. I want to lead them with strategies. I want to entertain them, but I also want to be low maintenance for the meeting planner. I want to make him or her look good. So the same thing with the meeting planner for the client. You've got somebody in that organization and it's maybe it's the C-suite, but probably not. It's somebody else in the organization and you want to make that person look good. You want to make it effortless for them. So you're being of good service to them. So it is a different mindset. So again, catch it, challenge it, change it. When you find yourself in that scarcity mindset, catch yourself, be self-aware. Otherwise, nothing can change. Challenge it. What do you want instead? Figuring out who your client is, and then go take steps to find those clients.
And talk about yourself differently. Just as you just said, it's not about like, a lot of planners say, I'm a full service meeting and event planner. I'll handle your logistics. The function of it rather than
the benefits.
Yeah.
How do you make their life easier? Yes. So it is.
That's why they're hiring a planner.
Yes, it is the benefits. So as a speaker, how many keynote speakers are there? How many keynote speakers are there that speak to business or mindset or anything else? But my service is to make the planner look good, be a good value to the audience, and make it easy for everyone involved. I want to get
fun. That's one of your values.
Yeah. What is it that you do as a planner that makes their life easier? So that's what you need to focus on. And that's what distinguishes you from others.
That is the golden nugget, because a lot of planners don't differentiate themselves enough. They try to look like a bigger corporate entity or a bigger company, whereas what are their values and how do they communicate their values to attract clients that are going to resonate with that and love them for it and not ever fire them unless they, really.
Right. But so that requires a certain amount of clarity too. So when it comes to the system, the responsibility is knowing what kind of business that you want. So this was a big lesson for me as a speaker in that, okay, there are speakers out there that are 20,000, 25,000, 30,000 or more per keynote. Mm-hmm. It took me a while to figure out that's not me. That's not my sweet spot. That's not how I show up. And so I had to take some time to figure out how I wanted to show up that met my needs, that fulfilled me. So the same thing with your, the meeting planner and your business. Are you trying to grow into a team? Are you okay with being a solopreneur?
Yeah.
Do you have a family where that flexibility is important? So knowing how it touches the other areas of your life is important too, so that you can create it for a way that it fits. Because you're a person and you have a professional life, but you're still one person.
Yeah.
So you really got to figure out, what you want it to be.
Sorry, I'm stepping on you, but sorry, I'm getting so excited. Bigger, I learned this lesson the hard way. Bigger is not always better. I thought when I opened my meeting planning business, as an independent solopreneur in 1999, that the goal was to get bigger, to get employees, to have an office. And now that I'm older, I don't want that. As a speaker, I don't want to manage payroll, and I want to do the stuff that I enjoy. Now, other people may really enjoy rocking a team and the office space and, getting bigger all the time and serving more clients. That's not my jam. That is not me at all.
Right. And that's important. But we don't spend enough time. We don't spend enough time understanding what is our jam.
Yes. And so I was trying to be somebody I wasn't, when really I love the balance that I have right now. I don't have to manage a huge team. I don't have office space. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to spend my time in ways that I don't enjoy. And part of that for me is I don't work on Fridays. It's part of my balance. Does that mean sometimes I have to work on a Saturday or Sunday? Yeah. But what that looks like to me, because I own my own company, I can set my own rules. And I think I attract people of a similar mindset because of that.
Well, you do. You absolutely do. But you've gotten clear, so you have clarity around what it is, how you want your business to be. And a lot of people don't consider that. So, going back to the vacation exercise, you put all this thought into a vacation.
Yeah.
But we don't tend to put all that same thought into the experience we want in career.
Right.
Or in our business, or how we want our business to be and how it impacts our life. So that is your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's to figure that out. And you've got to spend time there figuring out what that means to you, not what it means to anybody else.
Yes. And not what it looks like from the outside in. What do you want from the inside out? And I should clarify, since we're getting to clarity, I'll work on a Friday if somebody out there wants to hire me as a speaker for 20 grand.
Right.
But, and so independent planners, they often can't set their own schedule, but when they are at home, they can shift things around to get the life they want.
Right.
That's my point.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Let's shift into career. What if you are unhappy? What if you maybe like what you're doing, but it no longer fulfills you like it used to? Because that's the reality, It
is. And you know what? That happened to me. I was really satisfied with my job for a period of time. And then I got to that point and it's like, wait a minute, I know there's something more for me, but I had no idea what that meant. And it's like, how do you figure that out? Yeah. So that's kind of what I set out to do. And I was a horrible failure at it. Ended up on really stressed out and on anxiety medicine. So.
Oh, yeah.
But then I did ultimately figure it out. And that was the piece where I said that my mindset was the biggest piece that was holding me back. And so when you're in a career and you like aspects of it, you know that this is what you enjoy doing at one time, you don't enjoy it anymore, I would go back to the values.
Yeah.
And here's the values exercise. So this is an exercise that all of your meeting planners, meeting professionals can do. And all it is asking yourself the question, what must be present in the context of career or business? So again, going back to how you want to experience it. And I listed some of my values, that it be fun, that I get to travel, that I'm compensated fairly, that I'm serving people, that it's meaningful. So those are all things that are important to me in the context of career. Doing that one exercise is so illuminating when you figure out what's important to you. And then it's a matter of, where's the disconnect in your business or in your career? How can you shift things just even a little bit to move yourself closer in that direction? So for instance, if fun is one of your values and you're not having fun anymore, how can you bring more fun into your day? How can you do things differently that it allows you to have more fun while doing it? Maybe you have walking meetings instead of phone meetings, or I don't know. It's, anything that you can do to bring your values into the equation.
Right.
Being curious about that will lead you to what fulfills you, because they are your values. It's what's meaningful to you and not to anybody else.
And so just a caution based on what you said before, don't make a list of what you don't want. Make a list of what you do want.
Yes.
Because
how do you want to experience your career? I want to work with a great team, and I want to be compensated fairly. I want to have adequate balance in my life. I want to be able to give back to my community. I want to be able to spend so much time with my family. But you got to get clear about it before you can even do something about it. But that's the disconnect, is that we don't spend that time getting clear on what we really want. We're just trying to handle everything, put out all of the fires. But you know what? Yeah. Some of that stuff that we think we have to take care of everything, we don't. We take on stuff that doesn't belong to us.
That's true. Because we're problem solvers. As meeting planners, that's our mindset. We're problem solvers. We solve everybody's problems.
Right, and that ekes into every other area of your life, because that's how you see yourself.
Yeah, it's what we are.
But here's an interesting distinction. We're problem solvers. If you label yourself as a problem solver, then problems is what you're going to find.
That's true. Oh my gosh, I just did it myself. Solution providers. How's that? Is that any better?
Yeah.
We provide solutions. So let's talk about, you mentioned earlier about stress. How does mindset affect your stress levels? How do the two intertwine?
Well, it's totally tied together because it's your choice. You make a decision as to how you're going to look at things. And either you're focused on everything potentially that can go wrong, or you're focused on everything potentially that can go right. And it's a choice as to which way you send your brain. But you make a decision to send your brain in that direction. Even if you don't do it consciously, you can do it unconsciously without even realizing it, that your brain is just always going to the things that could go wrong. Again, back to catch it, challenge it, change it. Being aware of how you feel, because usually when you're stressed, there's a kinesthetic feeling that goes with it. You feel off, you feel tight, you feel kind of, revved in a negative way. Paying attention to that, because that's your body trying to deliver a message to you.
Yeah.
To say, oh, you're focused on the wrong thing. So there is an anti-anxiety exercise that I have.
Ooh.
And the example that I use is with a job description. So say you're going for a job interview and it's a promotion for you and it really means a lot to you. But you're worried about, oh, am I going to sound like an idiot? And, what if I'm late or I get a flat tire and then all of a sudden you're starting to feel all this anxiety and getting stressed.
Yeah.
That's because you're focused on every single thing that could go wrong. Is that really what you want to have happen?
Right.
No, it's not. So catching it and saying, and challenging it. What do I want instead? I want to be articulate. I want to be able to answer the questions. I want to get there on time. I want to feel confident. I want to be articulate. That's what you need to focus on. It's redirecting your thoughts to, this is what I want. So always focusing on what it is that you want, but what you want in the positive. And it's almost like house training a puppy. When you get a puppy, it's like you pick them up and you take them outside and say, no, this is where you go, again and again. Your mind is the same way.
Keep doing that to your mind.
Yes.
You got to potty train your inner puppy.
Your puppy training your mind. Exactly.
Feel free to trademark that. That's a freebie for you. So as planners, and this will be my last question. I've taken up enough of your time, but my last question. So planners, I hear them thinking this, okay, so our job is to look for the things that could go wrong and mitigate those for our event to be successful. Mm-hmm. So I can see this as a challenge because they have that mindset. I mean, we have to, as meeting professionals, we have to think about weather that's coming through. What about now we have to think about active shooters. I mean, there's so, not just to mention, what if somebody has an allergic reaction? Do I have an EpiPen in my bed? All these things that we have to be prepared for. Mm-hmm. How do you get to positivity when so much of mitigating horrible things is part of your job?
Well, positivity is the solution. So even, God forbid, an active shooter. So, that is something that you certainly have to address these days.
You have to have a plan, but that doesn't mean you
keep your audiences safe. So that, the plan, the solution, and knowing that you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can be implemented if need be. You're hoping it doesn't, but it can be implemented if you need be.
Sure.
That, you're covered. So even though you have to think about the things that come up, you're covered because you already have.
Right.
Yeah.
So it mitigates your stress too.
Yes. Yes. Because, so one of the problems and one of the things that causes stress, and especially for me with a solopreneur, I mean, how many hats do we wear? And professionals the same way, is that you're juggling all of these things, but we try to keep it all in our head. And that's just a recipe for stress because you can't remember everything. And then so you're waking up at 2:00 in the morning and texting your other meeting professional buddies saying, hey, I just thought of this, and not getting the sleep that you need, which self-care is part of it too. But getting things out of your head, getting them down onto a piece of paper is huge so that you can actually do something about it. Knowing that you've got a checklist for an active shooter, knowing that you've got a checklist of things that you need to bring, like EpiPens or, first aid kits or whatever. But just knowing that you have it covered. So you've got that checklist, it'll be taken care of, and then it's not as much on your mind, which means you have
get it out of your brain and get a plan.
Yeah.
How can people reach you if they want to hire you, learn more about you, hire you as a coach, hire you as a speaker?
Yeah. So I am at gettingtoclarity.com. And I have a page on there for meeting professionals. I also have a page on there for coaching. And I offer a number of ways to work with each. So as a presenter, working as a keynoter, open or close, also as a trainer or workshop facilitator. And then from a coaching aspect, I have what I call clarity sessions. So I offer 2 sessions that are 90-minute each. And that's kind of a nice intro to be able to figure out some things without a long-term commitment. And then I also offer a longer-term commitment, a 3-month or 12-week coaching relationship as well. So gettingtoclarity.com or Debbie at gettingtoclarity. Or if you want to give me a buzz, you're a phone gal, then I can be reached at 814-881-5204.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Debbie.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Clarity. I loved this whole conversation, and I'm going to go redo my vision board, I think. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it so much. Thanks, Debbie.
My pleasure, Shauna.